Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to tell you why I made this video. I made this video for the people like me who don't have strong maths background or technical background but are studying data science. I don't have anyone around me to discuss what I have learned, so I came up with this idea. Whatever concept I learn, I make it into a video and share it with people out there just like me. I hope this helps you too. I also want to give a special thanks to my tutor Ajay Sir. Without him, I couldn't have learned any of these concepts. And also to my favorite AI tool, Claudia and Smarty. Without them, I couldn't have been able to put this together. So thank you all. So let's begin. So today what are we doing? We are doing regularization in machine learning. So let's see what regularization is. Regularization is a technique used to reduce model complexity and prevent overfitting by adding penalty to them to the loss function. So now this sounds very complex. So let's break it down simply. In machine learning, what do? We train a model on data. And what does the model do? The model learns all the patterns and then makes prediction. But sometimes the model learns the data too well, including all the noises. And when it sees a new data, it predicts poorly. And this is called as overfitting. A simple analogy. Think of regularization as a brake. When the model is going too fast, it's learning too much. And what does the regularization do? Regularization puts a brake on it so that it learns all well and predicts properly. So in short, what is regularization? A regularization is used to reduce the model complexity and prevent overfitting by adding a penalty to the term to the loss function. We will talk about it, what is penalty and the loss function as in the uh, future coming slides, but this is meant by regularization. And what the problem we have? The problem is we have overfitting. And because of overfitting, what happens, as we have said earlier, that it learns too fast. And because it learns too fast, the prediction what we get is very poor or inappropriate. And that's why we use regularization. Another form of we use regularization is again uh, to remove the collinearity. Now, what do we need the regularization? We have studied that we need to remove is the overfitting. And what did we say in overfitting? That the model can memorize the training data and it poorly performs on the new data. As you can see, the example of overfitting, the accuracy of the training data is 99% and the test accuracy is 60%. What does that mean? That the model has memorized the noise. And with regularization, what have we have seen? That the training accuracy has come down to 88%, whereas the test accuracy has been improved from 60 to 80%. That 85%, that means the model is generalized well and it is performing better. And our goal is here to remove the low bias, low variance, and it should act good both on the training and the testing data. Then the second reason why we need regularization is to remove the multi-collinearity. Now, in our data, we have independent variable and target variable. if there is a strong relationship between the independent variable themselves, it affects the target variable. Therefore, regularization helps to remove this multi-collinearity. Now, let's see with an example. Now, in an example, we have an area of a house. We have a number of bedroom, that is single bedroom, double bedroom, and bedroom with master bedroom, and the Y prediction. Now, what happens? The area of the house and the number of rooms that we have, they are strongly correlated, and we don't know which feature has the more effect on Y. Is it the single bedroom or double bedroom or triple bedroom? Because there is a strong correlation, and we don't know what price or what feature can have the effect, which feature can increase the bedroom of the house. So that is called as multicollinearity. And if there is a correlation between the features itself, then we cannot know which important feature is there and which important feature can help to raise the price of the house. We don't know, and that's why that condition is called multicollinearity, where it helps to remove the multicollinearity using regularization. And the third one we use regularization is for feature selection. Now, what do you mean by feature selection? As I said in the just a few minutes ago, that the features we have is the best feature, the important feature, we send it for the training. For example, now if take an analogy now here, if we sow the bad seeds, the product what you get is a bad fruit. Example, again, another analogy. If you teach the student just the bit points, just like, oh, a bad teacher, you just says, explains, doesn't bother about whether the teacher has a student has understood or they haven't understood. At the end of the day, what do you get? The most of the students fail, and when the most of the students fail, it reflects on the teacher, or on the teacher, on the teaching, or on the method of teaching by the teacher. So that is what it is, the feature selection is. So what we want to do, we want to select only the good features that are very important for prediction. So hence, why do we need regularization? As we have said, that we need regularization for reducing overfitting. We need regularization to remove the multicollinearity, as well as to select the features. So feature selection, we need multicollinearity. We need regularization. Now, how does it work? Let's see. Now we have already understood, when we do the machine learning model, that is the regression model, we have a cost function. Cost function, it's given by j theta is equal to 1 by summation 1 by n summation y actual minus y predicted the whole square. That is the error, and that we have already seen in the multiple regression, linear regression model, where we have, that's called as cost error, or it is also called as OLS function. And in order to reduce this cost function, we have also seen that we use gradient descent. We have two methods. One is a closed form of method, that is OLS, and the second one, we know that we use a gradient descent, where we repeat the steps until we get the minima is reduced, or the error is reduced. So we have an iterative steps in gradient descent that we have already seen, which is given by the formula W new is equal to W old minus N dl by dw, where we do partial differentiation with respect to W and where N is the learning rate. So we have discussed all that in the linear regression model. Whereas now, how does regularization comes into this picture? In the regularization, we add the loss function here. We keep the same loss function that we have seen, and in addition, we just add error plus lambda into penalty. We are adding the lambda into penalty. That means we are just adding lambda into weight. So lambda into w square, we are adding that. So that is called as that's how the regularization works. And here the lambda is called as hyperparameter, and lambda controls the penalty. So let's see how to find the first of all, let's see the relationship between this lambda, between the m, and between the error. I will just show you on the visualization how to see that. Just give me a minute. Okay, now we have a live visualizer. What we have seen here, the lambda is 0, and this green point on the screen is called as global minima, that we have already seen in the gradient descent in the regression model. We have already seen this. Now if the error is low, the global minima is at this point. Now let's see what happens when the lambda increases. So as you have seen, when the lambda is 0, obviously there is no error is been added, and it is equivalent to OLS function, or it is equivalent to cost function of the regression model. So now let me increase the lambda to 0.1. What you have seen in the 0.1, when I have added, we have added the penalty. The error, the minima, you can see that the shifting of the minima occurs. The minima is slightly shifting towards the left side, and the error also increases. So that is the relationship between the error, the lambda, and the minima. Now again I will increase. Now we have seen that the slope is at 0.14 when the lambda is 0.1, and the error we have is 0.003, and the total loss we have is 0.97. 0.097. So let's see what happens in the if I increase it to 0.02. Oh, sorry, in this case, what we have seen, if I increase the lambda value at 0.3, the error time is increased to 0.24, as well as the error loss is increased to 0.273, and the minima is at 1, because you can see that it's shifting. The minima is slowly shifting from right to left. What does it mean when it's shifting to right to left? That means it decreasing from negative, from positive, it's moving towards the negative direction. So say we have increased to 5. So here you can see that the minima is shifting as the lambda is increasing, and the error also is increasing. So what does it says? that as the lambda increases, what happens? The minima is shifting towards the left. As shifting towards the left means it's shrinking. The minima is shrinking. We can see as another few example, as you can see. See, I've now brought the what is that, lambda to 1.1, and as you can see the slope is slowly moving more and more towards the left. That means it is shrinking and there is an error also is increasing. So what does it say? That that as the lambda increases, the model also shrinks. That means the coefficient or the slope shrinks. uh, what does it mean? Shrinking means, for example, it has the effect. Now let's talk about what it has. For example, say the coefficient before the shrinkage, or before we use the regression, what do? We have the, say the value is 3. Now how do you interpret this? If y, okay, if 1 unit of x is changes, 3, it has 3 unit of y changes, so the effect of x has 3 units on y. So that's how we interpret. So what does it mean? Now if the coefficient is, say, 0.03, we have, and the uh, 0.03, for example, say, and the coefficient is reduced to 1.5. So what does it mean? That the, if any unit of change in 1 unit of x has changed, has effect of 1.5 on the y value. So therefore it helps in importance of selection. It prevents overfitting of that particular feature. So this is what it is about, relationship between the lambda, between the error, as well as between the minima. Then now there are three types of regularization we have. I will just move on to the other three types. What are the three types of regularization? We have is L2 regularization, that is ridge regularization. We have L1 regularization, and we have elastic net regularization. In ridge regularization is also known as L2 regularization, and it is also known as Tikhonova regularization. Tikhonova is named after the scientist Andrei Tikhonova. Hence, it is called as Tikhonova regularization. Please remember that the regularization works only on the coefficient. It doesn't work on the intercept. So in L2 regularization, what happens? The coefficient, as the lambda value increases, the coefficient shrinks, but it does not become 0. So, and in lasso regularization, again, the same formula. We have the cost function. To the cost function, instead of adding lambda into x square, that is the coefficient square or the weight square, what we do? We add absolute value of coefficient or absolute value of the weight, and because of that the coefficient here becomes 0, and that is why we use lasso regression for feature selection. And elastic net is the combination of both the lasso and the ridge regression. Now, let's talk a little bit on ridge regression. Let's dive a little bit on ridge regression. As I said, in the ridge regression, we have an OLS function. This is the cost function that we have already seen in the first video and in the first slide. Plus, we are adding the lambda here. Lambda is known as the penalty error, which controls the penalty. And then here we have is the W square, summation of W square. Why we do summation of W square? Because it is a multiple regression model. So we add the W square. Then in this one, and then we take the, what do? We take the gradient descent. As we do, we calculate the gradient descent, and then we calculate the weight, and it updates the weight by gradient descent towards the zero. And we have also said that the why it does not become zero, the solution, the ridge regression, the coefficient doesn't become zero, because we have a close after the differentiation. When we open this and when we solve this equation, that is x summation of y minus y error plus t lambda into summation of W square, when we solve this using the gradient descent, we get the formula, the last formula. We get it, theta is equal to xy divided by x square plus lambda. And because of that, here as you have seen, because of that, because the lambda is in the denominator, the coefficient cannot be zero, and as well as x and y, that is the one which we have in the denominator, the independent and the dependent variable cannot be zero, because we need some features. We cannot add zero, and hence what happens, the coefficient in a ridge function is not zero. And why it is called L2? L2 is called because of the power, because we have a power on the error square as well as on the weight square. So we call it as L2 regression, or it is also called as ridge regression. So this is the so the one key important feature in ridge is that it never becomes zero. The coefficient shrinks, but it never becomes zero. This is the key property of the ridge. All the features are kept, but their coefficient is reduced. For example, as we have said in the previous example, we have without regularization the coefficient is 3, and with regularization we have coefficient 1.5. That means 1 unit changes in x now causes only 1.5 unit changes in y. So instead of 3, the feature influence is reduced to 1.5. Therefore it is less overfitting. And advantage of ridge we have is it reduces overfitting, it handles multicollinearity well. But the problem of disadvantage of ridge is that the coefficient never becomes zero, and hence what we do, because of that, what happens, we have come to a new concept called lasso regularization. Here, as you can see here, these are the you can go online and then you can play with it. As you have seen that the it never shrinks, this is before ridge and this is after ridge. Here it the weight decreases, but it never becomes zero. And here all the features are kept and the weight is reduced, and model gets simplifier and it trains better. So, as in lasso function, the same what we have discussed for the ridge. If we have understood ridge very well, then the lasso understanding becomes very easy. Only difference here, in the loss function in ridge, what did we do? We added lambda plus weight whole square. But here what we are adding, we are not adding the weight whole square, we are adding the absolute value of the weight. And again we calculate the gradient descent, and then we come with a formula here, formula for the lasso. We come with the formula, this one. What is the formula for lasso? Theta 1 is equal to lambda plus 2 into x wy, that is 2 into xy divided by 2x square. Here the same formula what we have seen here, we have seen in this case what happens, because the lambda is in the denominator. Okay, because the lambda is in the denominator, it we can theta becomes 0. As you know that we have an theta is equal to, after differentiation of this value, we get theta is equal to lambda minus 2xy divided by 2x square. So once we do that, for example, say lambda is 12 and the value of x is 3, 6, and the value of y is 4. No, sorry, the value of x is 4 and y is 3, then when you solve that equation it becomes 0, and when the numerator is 0, the whole complete equation also becomes 0. And that's why the feature, that particular feature is completely removed, and that's why we use lasso for feature selection. And why we call it as L1? L1 we call it only because there is no power. Now let's see again, as we have explained about the I'll give you a real world example. Say like for example in a house price prediction, if the distance from school is not important, Lasso will set its coefficient 0 and remove it completely. So this is about Lasso regression. So as you have can see here, the weights before lasso is like W1 is 5.2, 3.8, 0.9, 4.1, and here after lasso you can see that the feature which is 0.0, that is removed. That means that has less importance, and hence that particular feature is removed. So this is the example of lasso. Then the last one we have is elastic net. Elastic net is nothing. It is a combination of ridge and lasso. That is the combination of both L1 and L2. So as we have seen, we have used the formula. We know both the formula for L1 and L2. So what we do, we use the same formula, the cost function, and then we add the formula for L1 and L2. We add the same formula, and what we do is we use the L1 for feature selection and we use L2 for overfitting. And when do you use this? When you have many correlated features. What as we have explained in the earlier section, what is correlation? When we have a correlation function, many correlation features, we use elastic net, where is lasso alone picks the what is that correlated factor, and the ridge it what is that, it keeps the ridge identifies lasso, removes the factor. What factor? It removes the correlation features. And what are the control parameters we have? Control parameters we have lambda, as well lambda 1 and lambda 2. Lambda 1 is used for feature selection, and lambda 2 we use for shrinkage of the coefficient. So so let's compare between the three now. The ridge, what it does, it a property is used for penalty. What it reduces, shrinks the coefficient, but it never becomes zero. It can be used for feature selection, and it can be used for correlation factors. We will see this, and we will compare which is better, ridge, lasso, and elastic. These are the properties. And in ridge, what we have seen, we use the penalty lambda plus w square. Here we use, in lasso, we use the lambda plus absolute value of the weight, and here elastic we use only both the combination, that is uh, lasso as well as ridge. And in the coefficient, ridge only shrinks the coefficient, but it does not turn to zero. In lasso, we have seen that it exactly can turn to the zero, and we can use both. Via L1, it can reduce the coefficient to zero, because as you know that elastic net is a combination of L1 plus L2. In feature selection, we don't use lasso for feature selection. It automatically in ridge, it keeps all the selection, it doesn't remove automatically, whereas in lasso it removes automatically all the features, which is exactly zero removes. And in elastic we keep the both. Then in correlation factors, we have seen it handles well, whereas lasso, it only picks the correlation, and it handles the best. And best for all the feature matters. Sparse lasso is sparse problem. Sparse problem is where data is usually has 0 1 0 1, that we call it as sparse. And then we have is the larger data set, we use elastic net. So in short, we have seen what is regularization. Regularization reduces overfitting by adding penalty to the loss function, and ridge shrinks coefficient but never makes them zero. Lasso makes the coefficient exactly to zero, and automatically it removes the feature, it does the feature selection. Elastic we use when there is a large, very large data set, which combines both shrinkage and feature selection. And lambda is the one that controls the strength, or it controls the error. And how do we select it? We do this by trying different models on based on cross validation. I hope this was helpful for everyone studying data science without a strong maths or technical background. I just want to thank you a lot for taking time to watch this video, and my special thanks to my Ajay Sir, my tutor. Without him, I wouldn't have reached at this stage, as well as my AI tools, Claude and Smarty. Thank you.